to the races. We're on.
All right.
So, starting these is always weird. I'm like, so.
Hey.
No, but seriously, so, how are you? How you doing?
I'm like living life. I'm like feeling all the things,
Yeah.
which is really a blessing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, you know what's funny? The day that one of my childhood dogs passed away was like the day I started using.
Really?
Yeah. Right from the jump, I was like, I knew that like, all right, I'm getting drunk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like smoked pot and drank for the first time.
Well, I mean, like, spoiler alert, guys. Like, first off, hi, Mom. Yeah, so I lost my little dude this week. I had to put a cat down unexpectedly, and he's like been through, I don't know, sort of like been my shadow through like the shadowy times for sure. And I've been thinking about it a lot. Like, you know, they say like addiction is a disease like you never fully recover from, and what was going on with him, it was in his kidneys, and like the damage had been done. It wasn't something he was ever going to fully recover from. And at the same time, I mean, obviously, like, it's heartbreaking. It's not quite real yet to me, but I forgot exactly what I was going to say. It'll come back to me.
You said disease is an addiction that we never fully recover from.
Yeah, no, that was something else. My mind goes in a zillion places all at once.
Yeah.
Unmedicated ADHD, woo!
Me too.
But definitely, I mean, like, I've been working throughout this whole thing, so I'm trying to, like, keep my cool. But something they say at meetings a lot is, like, pain shared is pain lessened. And I've had, like, people that don't even know me that well coming up and giving me hugs and just feeling for me. And ultimately, like, it's such a privilege to have loved something so much to feel this way. You know, they say grief is the cost of love. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
So you've been working this whole time.
Yeah.
During this loss, this period of loss.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here at Oasis.
Yeah.
And I know from experience because what are you doing right now? Are you doing like extended care?
Yeah, I'm checking in extended care.
Okay.
And like if we are talking about Oasis in general, like of all, like I don't know everything. Who brings their cat to work? So, obviously I had a special bond with the little dude, but I don't think Oasis knew or me knowing like when I started this job a few months ago. Like I'm so glad because that was my last few months with him.
Yeah.
And his name was Sylvester Swaddington Smalone.
Schmalone.
Yeah. But we don't have to talk about my cat.
We can though, you know? I mean, like, we can talk about whatever we want.
All right.
You know? How long did you have him for?
7 years.
That's a
Literally,
good run.
his birthday was on Sunday, and he went down on Monday.
Oh, God dang.
But it's just, like, really, it's banana crackers, because, like, he moved in with me to my first ever, like, all-by-myself apartment. He rode in a U-Haul freely with me to Chicago and back. He was just like a rider, you know?
Yeah.
Came with me like to the second stage of my treatment, and now he was coming to work with me, and just my little dude like watching over me. So
Did you come from Chicago? Is that where you're from originally?
no, I grew up in Winston till I was about 15, and then I moved to Charleston, South Carolina, where I went to high school and stayed a little too long after. I was about 25 when I left. Yeah, I mean, so we'll just like really cruise into a bit of my story. A lot of my trauma is sexual assault and being taken advantage of. So when I, like 3 days after my 25th birthday, in this apartment, my first apartment, I was sexually assaulted by a man I had worked for years.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And, you know, again, that was like one of those things that, you know, what can I be grateful for in that? And what I can find is that it put me to a point of like, you can't fucking run anymore. Like you have to deal with some of this stuff. And that wasn't just like a a day-long situation, you know. I woke up that morning and I did everything I had to do that day, but it really transpired for years. I called the police, and then I went to the hospital where I had to have the rape kit done. And then my lawyer, who knew me quite well, guys, he happened to call me one day, and I thought he had heard because he knew this man because I'd worked for him for so long while I was getting in trouble as well. And I assumed he knew, and I told him about it, and he was like, "Oh, like this is a court case." And so then it ended up with like a lawsuit and this statewide case, and you know, sexual assault doesn't often get not nearly enough does it get reported and followed through with, but it's also not the top of, you know, the to-do list for law enforcement, which like that's not throwing, you know, there are things like there are people that are murdering people and whatnot, but it ended up being like this 3-year ordeal of me, you know, having to speak with the solicitors in the state. And I am just like most females. I've watched like all of SVU. I watch all of the like true crime shows. But there's nothing that can prepare you for being in a courtroom and being the victim in a sexual assault case.
God, it sounds so terrible. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's part of my story. Like, what good would it do to dwell on that it happened to me? Like, if there's anything I knew when it happened, I wanted to bring awareness to it. I wanted it to be talked about more, and it's 100% not just girls that go through that. But, you know, when I was in the hospital that day having the rape kit, like I realized how many times something similar or something just really like less like this was so scary and real that I had to face it, and it made me realize how many times very similar things had happened to me. And you know, it's hard to identify that when you're constantly blaming yourself for not being fully aware and not knowing what was happening. But, you know, you can't like be mad at yourself for not knowing what you didn't know before you learned it. You know, it's been like it's been a wormhole. Like not to go back again to like being in the hospital, but it really felt like the cork of everything that I had been holding in for so long got pulled, and it was like, oh shit, like you can't run anymore. You've got to deal with this.
And how did your using tie into this experience? Like, did you use afterwards to medicate the feelings that you were having, or was this like you said, the cork was being pulled on how you had to deal with all of this stuff? Are you talking about your using stuff?
The reasons I used, 100%. You know, like I kind of grew up in a family, like I was a baby of 4, and when you live in a chaotic household, like you kind of try to deal with as much as you can on your own.
Yeah.
But that was a lot of coming to treatment for me. Like being in treatment was like giving myself credit for all of the things I had seen and all of the things I had been through, which we just didn't talk about in my house. Like, you know, I try not to deal with things too much with comedy, but I do. Write that down. I'm really funny most of the time.
I'll
Write that down.
I'll superimpose that on the screen. She's very funny.
Thank you. But when you grow up in a family of like comedians, more or less, literally my brother is a comedian, there's always a way to laugh things off. But like, you know, a lot of those old stories that like we all tell, like we're like, oh, like this one night, you know, there's still like a pang of like, damn, like that was sad.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and in some ways it's like a superpower to be able to deal with traumatic experiences with comedy, and then in other ways it's a mask, right? Like it's like, yeah, I'll laugh it off right now, and then years later you see the tragedy of it. And you're like, I never allowed myself to experience the tragedy of this, the loss of my innocence. Like
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Like, I remember being in therapy and just like sprinkling a little family story, and they were like, wait, can you repeat that? Like,
Right.
to me, it's always been like, oh, yeah, it was really funny. And they're like,
that's not funny.
let's look at that.
Right.
So,
Yeah. I was listening. I just started listening to this book called "What Happened to You" that my friend suggested to me. It's like an Oprah reading list book.
great.
I guess I'm
God
getting.
love her.
I guess I'm getting. Yeah, I do. Seriously, God does love her.
She does.
Hey. But I had never done anything like that. But I was listening to it, and I was like, they're talking about how in the primordial stages of a young person's life, like when you're in those formative first couple months, like and first few years, like the stuff that happens to you.
I got dropped on my head a lot.
It's
fine.
I'm fine.
Here we are.
That those experiences inform the way that you're going to behave for the rest of your life, unfortunately, right?
Yeah.
But I'm very unaware of the way that some of this stuff has affected me still, like do all of the work that I've done on trying to understand myself and undo, like I see that I have patterns that I don't want to repeat, but I don't know why they're there. Like what put those patterns in place? So like that's the work that I'm doing right now, is trying to figure out what the heck is, where did this stuff come from?
Or these thoughts and beliefs about myself.
Right.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever done stand-up comedy?
No, I tried to let my brother have the spotlight. I didn't want him to know I was funnier than him.
Right.
I did get invited to do this show in Chicago called Storytelling and Karaoke.
Okay.
And basically, like, it could be any kind of story, like, and then you would sing a song that had something to do with it, or like not at all. And I actually like really wanted to talk about the sexual assault. I hate that I give him that credit, but that's like the biggest one for me, because obviously like it wasn't just a night I got to wake up from and not talk about and forget it. Like, I've got literally the state calling me and like, tell me everything that happened leading up to it and before, what you know about this guy. But anyway, so I was going to tell that story, and then I was going to rap None of Your Business by Salt and Peppa. Look it up, ladies, if you have not. Sorry if I'm screaming. I get that from my dad. He can't hear for shit, so. It was going to be,
How did it go?
Oh, COVID started.
Oh, so you didn't...
I was supposed to... they were supposed to have my name and lights right here.
We would.
Well...
We would. If you'd done that, we would.
Work on that. Write it down.
But you could do that at an open mic here.
Yeah. I definitely... I'm one of those people, and I'm sure like a few people... Like, they probably say this to me. They're always like, do a YouTube channel, do a podcast. And I'm like... But then like I would just feel like I'm trying to be something instead of myself. And I don't know how I would come off if I was just like... If I was doing anything other than just like naturally speaking.
Yeah. You're doing it right now.
Yeah, well...
Whatever it is.
Thanks. I don't know. Like I don't like feeling rehearsed. I'd love to do improv though. I think that would be fun.
Improv's super fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I studied it in acting school.
Yeah. I know about the whole yes and thing.
Okay. Great.
Yes. And it's also interesting.
Yes, it is interesting. And also, it's really helpful in social situations when you want to keep the conversation flowing.
Yes. And also, I think it is a great way to look at life because, life doesn't stop happening.
Yes. And I agree with that.
Yes. And smart choice.
Next choice. Have you ever done that game?
No.
Where you say something and then like there will be like someone that's kind of like the mediator in the conversation, and they'll clap their hands and say new choice, and then you'll just say the last thing you said but in a completely different way.
Okay.
New choice.
In a completely different way, I'm looking at life. Did I do it right?
Kind of, yeah. I think we'll see. You know what we should do is run some improv games with the clients.
Dude, I've been saying that. Cut me a check, dude. I got t-shirt ideas.
Have you?
No.
I bet you we could come up with a couple,
Okay.
you know.
I'm game.
But in this moment, can I ask you a question? And feel free to say no. I don't want to talk about that. Do you want to talk about what the end of your using was like?
Oh, yeah. I mean, sure. Y'all want to
Yeah.
y'all want to hear a sad story? Have y'all seen any of the Batman movies? Mm-hmm. You know how like the Joker, his mouth.
He's permanently smiling.
You're not following. So I had like these horrible red wine tattoos on my face for like 3 years. No, it was really, really damn dark. So I would definitely say what brought me down was alcohol.
Me too.
I chose to do another program though because that's not really where I started. It's where I ended. And you know, I had. Alcohol was something I could always get to. You know, I didn't have to wait for a guy.
Oh God, I hate waiting for the guy.
Right? And when I was living in Chicago, granted, like, let's get this clear, like, I've been on this path for a hot minute, but like, also a big reason I chose to move to Chicago is because I had gotten like my 3rd DUI, and I was like, you know what, we're just not going to drive for a while. We'll put that back on the shelf. And I do take drinking and driving very seriously. It was never me making that decision like, oh, I'm good at this. It was, a blacked out, browned out shell of me that was like, I just want to go home.
Yeah.
Probably to my cat. It wasn't like, we're taking your keys. I just like Irish goodbye. Like, I'd be there partying, and then it was like where is Lucy? But I chose to move to Chicago where I wouldn't have to explain that. It was something that I was ashamed of and embarrassed. And then in my mind, I was like, oh, well, I'm not drinking and driving. I'm not hurting anybody. And that's like when I really started hurting myself. And, I was getting alcohol delivered to my house. The liquor store knew, like, my brother actually sold, he was a beer rep for like a lot of local breweries up there. And this one day I was riding around with him, and he was like, oh, we're just going to stop in one of these shops and like check the stock. And he was like, hey, this is my sister. I was like, they know me. Like, and there's a delivery service in Chicago. And basically, like, I have, clearly gotten in trouble for it numerous times. I've woken up in the hospital numerous times with alcohol poisoning, which I thought that was just like normal. Like,
wow.
Everybody does that,
wow.
But no. And it was Thanksgiving of 2019. I basically died. There were other substances at this party, and I had tried one that apparently, like, there is a rare blood condition that goes along with it. So something told my friend to go check on me in the bathroom, and like they were watching like my body turn blue slowly. Like I was,
oh my God.
And like my chest was moving. Basically what was happening is I was breathing, and like the oxygen was moving around my blood, but I'm not a doctor scientist, so nobody judge me. But it was not releasing the oxygen into my blood. I believe that's the hemoglobin. I got diagnosed with a condition called methemoglobinemia.
Wow.
Write that down.
Wow.
Yeah. And I don't remember much of that. I remember like it being very bright, and I remember the EMTs coming in and taking me, and then I remember waking up in the hospital with a catheter in and being in like so much pain. And I remember feeling like, what was that fucking movie? Do you remember that movie with Tom Green where he's got like all the hot dogs hanging from the ceiling and he's playing the piano? If you don't, this is gonna be awkward. Anyway,
I don't.
Okay, great. Well, I felt like a puppet, man. I had like all these IVs. They had them in my feet. Like I couldn't turn without pulling something in my skin, and I just remember feeling so out of control. And also there I realized how much trauma I have now with like being on my back looking at a white ceiling because of all the times I've been in the hospital and me blaming myself. It was very big. And my mom took like $1,000 flight over like that night into Chicago to be with me, and it was very scary. And then 7 days later I was right back to doing what I was doing again. Like I just like balls to the wall. Which is what made me want to move back home partially. Like I knew that I had a problem. And that was like what's really frustrating is like when you know you want to stop and you can't fucking stop.
Yeah.
And you're just like, why am I doing this? Like, what am I celebrating? What is the occasion? Like Tuesday?
Yeah.
So tried to go back home, and then it was very much like I was right back to, that burning scene I had ran away from in the first place, like I'm almost 30 years old. I can't drive. There's still this guy that is dragging me around. Like it's.
You were dating somebody?
No. Okay. We were like on and off for 10 years. Edit this out. He does not deserve this time. We were like on and off for 10 years and like we were never dating, but until I started dating someone, then I was his ex.
Oh, wow.
It was just like an emotionally abusive trauma bond. It was just, and it was all right there waiting for me when I got back. And, when you're friends that like you've always gauged yourself, like at least I won't get that bad. Well, when those people are like, yo,
You need
help.
Fuck.
I was like, I'm going to rehab. Yeah.
So did you come here?
Yeah. Like for a year. Yeah, I came through Oasis. There was something about it, like, I never wanted to need to go to rehab.
I know.
Nobody was going to tell me.
Yeah.
And
That's classic.
Yeah.
It's classic alcoholism.
Got to the point where like I wanted to go, like, and I felt like I deserved like the quiet time to just focus on myself and like figure out like what were these scary things I was running from. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. And there's just something about this place, like rehab to me, it always sounded like they're going to put me in a fucking straitjacket and there's going to be a bunch of people in lab coats and like you can't wear white after Labor Day. So like, I didn't want to do it. But this, it feels weird. Like I say, like I don't like to be rehearsed or genuine, but like there was something about this place in particular that pulled me towards it. And like my insurance didn't even cover this place. I was like, that's where I need to go. Like if I'm going to have to go, like I won't go anywhere else. And so I came and here I am.
And now you work here.
Yeah, dude. It's so weird.
I didn't go to rehab. I went to, I just started doing, 12-step meetings and stuff.
Couldn't bring myself to do it. Not back home.
Yeah.
Which is, I was just talking to somebody about this. Like, I was like, I'm going to know people there. And like, now I'm like, they would have been doing the same thing I was doing. And I would much rather be a person who needed help and got help versus being somebody who probably needs help.
Yeah. I mean, the alternative is pretty grim, When you think about, like, if we hadn't gotten help, that we probably would be dead. I mean,
100%. Like, I didn't even look like myself. Like, my face, just like, I didn't know, like, I couldn't even read on a book. Like, I couldn't read a page, first off, because, like, the words were constantly, like, if I didn't have this... Maybe that's why the words were vibrating. I probably had the shakes. But like my eyes, they couldn't focus. And when I'd get to the bottom of a page, I'd be like, what the fuck did I just read? And it was just so frustrating. It was like, I knew that like my heart was working, but like my mind and my body wasn't anymore. And that is painful,
Yep. I felt the same way. I remember like towards the end of the whole thing that I could just feel my my body kind of failing, just like on a subtle level, like I'm not gonna lie to you, like I could not I'm not one of those folks that like could handle drinking to the level of being alcohol poisoned. Like I'm not that strong. Like my bottom
B team over here, whatever.
Seriously, my bottom was like relatively low in the scope of like physical damage to my body and stuff, but I was like on the verge of killing myself because of how emotionally fucked I was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I knew, yeah, dude. Like I knew how dark it was. Like, so there's like one of those things, like, how your mom is always like, you can do anything you want to be. Well, some people, your mom. And I was like, she's just saying that. Like, I just never, like, had that belief in myself or, like, love. And I remember like it was probably the scariest for me when I was in Chicago waiting on a train. And I found myself very envious of the snow falling on the train tracks because like it looked so peaceful. And I knew that I could just accidentally slip and fall and like then it wouldn't be suicide and it might not hurt my family as bad to think, but like to be jealous of the snow falling on the train tracks because they're electrically run, like people do accidentally fall and they get electrocuted and they die. Man, I was just like so far from the little girl I was. Like I also believe that we have like numerous aged versions of ourselves living in us at all times. And I've owed the little Lucy quite an apology, and I think I'm living it as best I can, trying.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. Does it nurture you to help others?
100%.
Yeah.
That was my issue though. Like I always wanted to go to therapy, and I was like, okay, just like tell me how I can help other people, and then you gotta help yourself,
right.
So that like in what example, like who wants to learn, from a personal trainer, I mean, and not to like throw anyone under the bus, but like who wants a personal trainer that's never struggled with their body? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think that like the struggle is necessary and for a lot of this.
Yeah.
Whether it's like you personally struggling or you watching somebody struggle with it, it takes that to have compassion and understanding at least. Like you can be a compassionate person, but to really understand and know where people are coming from, because something I've learned in treatment is like no matter what your DOC was, we're all like the same person running from the same thing with different things.
Yeah. And that thing is feeling unlovable and not worthy of a decent life.
Yeah.
Right?
Fear, like unworthiness, deserving, like it's just, I don't know. It's been a very unexpected, beautiful process. That's all I can say. Yeah,
I mean, just some of the stuff that you've come through to see you standing here, be this radiant person that is working towards helping other people.
I don't feel radiant.
You're
this
radiant.
Week. Thank you. I feel crusty, dusty this week, but hey, that's okay because I'm allowed to have those days, which I would have never used to say.
Well, I don't know if I should encourage you to look this good when you don't feel this good, but you do look great. You look radiant. You look powerful. You look like you're owning your pain and your
Thank you.
Your story and that you walked through it like,
Thank you.
The other thing real quick that I like to ask people, last thing, is what did you become passionate about in recovery? Did you fall in love with anything that you weren't expecting to?
What, like a hobby?
Yeah, hobby, passion, new career. Like for me, it was like I got into the martial arts, like I was like 1 month sober, and I was like, it was my natal birthday, I was like turning 29, and I was like, you know what? I've always wanted to do Kung Fu. I'm sober now. I can do whatever I want,
Yeah, Kung Fu you. So for me, I think a lot of the pain in my active addiction was like me not doing the things that I loved. There was like, A, the not feeling well enough to do it. B, I'd rather spend my money on what I was spending it on. C, I don't deserve to do things I love. And I have dabbled with a lot of, I grew up competitive cheerleading. Then I ended up teaching dance, which I loved that. I quit doing that after the sexual assault thing. It felt weird being around kids and carrying this secret. And I also felt guilty for being able to move my body in any sort of attractive way. Like, I didn't want to be looked at. And I used to hula hoop. I was one of those girls. I still have like a $500 hula hoop. It's got a remote. I'll show it to you. But just like having, self-care is not just washing your hair, brushing your teeth. It is like nurturing your soul. So like having the wherewithal to go back to the things that I love. And it's also like, it's an act of self-love to like ask yourself what you need in that day. I feel so lucky to be able to get off my couch. Like there's like a groove in my couch from where I basically like killed myself for 3 years.
You have that same couch still?
Yeah, it's gotta go though. Like it's definitely, especially now that Sylvester's gone, we gotta do something about that. It's just functional. It turns into like a sleeper sofa, and it's got some storage. And I'm a hoarder, not like a episode. Listen, we don't need to have an intervention about that. Like, and one thing at a time. So calm down, everyone.
But you had a groove in the couch from where you were sitting.
Yeah.
And now you can get up off the couch and do your shit.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and I'm social again. Like I didn't need anybody. I was a party of one.
Mm-hmm.
Like y'all could come over if you wanted to kick it. I'll come out for a minute, but then I'm going back home to my cat.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna watch some probably ghost hunting shows. If you haven't watched Dead Files, check it out. I don't know, man. I just like anything, but I used to try to do anything I could to not be where I was in that moment.
Yeah.
I was constantly running from yesterday and avoiding tomorrow. And like today I get to like wake up and it's Wednesday.
Yeah.
It's actually Wednesday when I say that too.
Yeah.
Like I know what day it is. I'm
Yeah.
glad it's Wednesday. Tomorrow will be Thursday, and then so on. And you know, like possibilities seem endless. Where you know I used to just want it to end. Like so.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. I remember it coming as like this big shocking realization when I realized like, man, I am always at odds with what's happening now. I just like anything but this. I don't know why, but just not this. Anything else. You
Yeah.
know? And then when you get to the headspace of, in fact, when I was blowing out the candle for my 30th birthday, I had just gotten a year sober. I was like, what am I going to wish for right now? And I was like, I just want this. I wish for this. And I blew out the candle, basically just saying thank you.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's beautiful.
I just want this,
Yeah.
you know? So I try to do that on my birthday these days.
Dude, that's powerful. I'm going to write that down.
I wish for this. Me and my buddy did this piece of experimental theater in Los Angeles that was improvisational in nature for the most part. We had a loose outline of what we were going to do, but it was called Church of This.
Hold up. My long legs.
And we did it on my 31st birthday. We basically played these like Southern Baptist preachers who were leading everybody in a worship of this.
That's kind of hilarious.
It was super funny, but it was also like spiritual, you know, like because at the end, like in the beginning we said, you know, what is this? You know, people have debated it for years. The only thing that we can say with any certainty, and even some people will debate this, is that this is happening. You know, right now.
That's a real thinker.
At all times, you know.
That's a thinker. I dig that.
And then we had music, and we selected a spiritual master from the audience at random and had them lead us in a sermon about this. And it was like we picked this like this lady who was a little older than us, you know, and sat her in and adorned her in priestly robes, and we sat at her feet and said, "Okay, tell us about this," you know. And she was like, she spoke very beautifully. She was like, "Well, you know, it's all about love, of course, it's all about love, you know." And yeah, it was really cool. We were saying like, you know, nobody is any more qualified to tell us about this than anyone else, really, and that everybody's perspective is unique, and it comes from their experience of this, you know. It was dope.
It's just making me think of like every day, like in active addiction, I just like wake up and like this was some bullshit.
Yeah, fuck this.
All this.
Yeah.
And now like this is beautiful. Like it's not all like being in it is beautiful. And like what a waste it would have been for whatever reason we're here if, you know, we didn't try something new and like change this, you know? So.
Yeah. Yeah, come to terms with the fact that this is happening.
This is 100% happening.
I'm glad that this is happening. I'm glad that we get to do this together today.
This has
Rocks.
been wonderful.
This rocks.
Yes, and rolls.
Yes, and it never stops.
Yes, and I need to hydrate myself.
Yes, and thank you for joining me today on Newly Sober.
Yes, and
Good night.
I made it.
Thank you.